So we've just come and found the boat alongside, and it's apparent that it hasn't quite had the fenders and lines put in the right place and set up properly. When you come back into the marina, you want to make sure that your lines and fenders are set to protect the boat and make sure that it doesn't float around too much. You can see with this one here, the lines are a bit loose, it's wobbling around all over the place, and there's a risk of the back of the boat actually hitting the pontoon. So what I'm going to do is just make a couple of alterations. It just gets us in the habit of actually thinking about where our fenders are positioned and where our lines are tied. So this fender here isn't really doing much for the back of the boat. I'm going to bring it forwards, and there's nowhere really to tie it on, but what I can do is just pass it through the cleat, and the same way that we tied a round turn and 2/2 hitches earlier, we can actually do a round turn and 2/2 hitches around the bottom of the cleat, and that just means that I can still do something with the line on top without affecting the fender. They both work together. Now, as we did when we tied the round turn 2/2 hitches, we've just set that fender so that it's just slightly out of the water. The nice thing here is it's right towards the back of the boat, so it's going to protect the corner. I'm going to finish off my round turn and 2/2 hitches here. Make sure that the fender's got no chance of coming loose. It's a bit of a tight spot here, but that's protected the back of the boat. I'll just have a look at the other fenders. There's one that's about in the middle. Again, it's a little bit low. Someone's tied a clove hitch with this one. So I'm going to bring the fender up just a little bit, not much, just a little bit, so that it doesn't dangle down too low. And I'm going to finish it off with a round turn and 2/2 hitches, because when we go home tonight, we want to make sure that it actually stays attached. Super. And finally, there's one at the front, and actually I might move that one a little bit further forwards just in case, and that's actually protecting the front of the bow underneath here. I always like to give the fender a push to see how far up it rises if it were hit by the pontoon. So now that we've got the fenders in the right place, let's come back and have a look at this line. Someone's made a bit of a mess putting this on. It's not very secure. It could come loose. So let's just take it off and keep one turn around the cleat. And we'll just pull the boat back in and just take up that slack a little bit. There we go. We've got this nice and short. It's not super tight, but it's nice and short and a bit of a right angle, which is where we want it at the stern. And once we've done that, we'll go all the way around, and then we make a figure of 8 shape. Let's do another figure of 8 shape, and that is locking the lines quite tight against each other. And then we'll loop all the way around again, and because I've got space on the cleat, I'm going to do another loop for luck. And what I just need to do is make sure that I don't leave this so that people are going to trip over it on the pontoon. So that's tied quite neatly. It's not going to go anywhere, and it's stopping the boat from moving too far backwards. It'll stop the boat from moving too far forwards. There's a little bit of a slack on the front line now, so I might just go and make sure that one is nice and tight. Now somebody's done a good job of tying this one. I'm just going to take up the slack a little bit, and the easiest way to take up the slack is to have that turn on the cleat and then just pull in and then gently take up the slack at this end. Tie my 2/8 and then 2 more loops around the top and tidy up the pontoon. Super. So for a small boat on a sheltered berth, that's an ideal way of just looking at the boat. Line at the front, nice and tight, a right angle. Line at the bow, a bit more of an angle, but also making sure, most importantly, that our fenders are equally spaced and covering any parts of the boat that are going to otherwise come into contact with the pontoon. Super.